Great. This is our last thing we have to do. And so we're going to go all the way up to the top, and let's take a look at our arrays here for just a second. We want to now make our available supplies be able to be monitored so that we can kind of appear that when we click on something, it goes away. So in order to do that, remember, we have to create that into a state variable, right? So now it's going to be monitored. Okay, the other thing I want to do though is I want to maintain those items so that I can redo this. So we're going to create a let. You remember what a let means. Let means I can't change it. So we're going to call this all supplies, right? And we're going to let it equal exactly, oh, look at this, exactly what we had before. So this guy here, we're just going to copy that and paste that here, right? So this will not change. This will allow us to kind of, when we reset things and empty the backpack, it'll kind of put it all back to up at the top. So we've made both of them state variables now, and we created a constant, right? A let. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to kind of refresh functions. Now remember, we are in a structure, right? This is the name of our structure. It is a type of view. It has these variables. It has its body, right? So underneath the body, which is easy to find if you did this with your curly braces, right? All right, so underneath your body, we're going to create a function. You remember when we create a function, we have to put the word func. And we're going to call this move to backpack. Now, there's a couple different ways we could do this, and I'm not going to do it the way they do, but I'm going to use this supply. Do you remember this? It might be on your exam, so we want to make sure that we are covering these things, right? This is the argument. This is an argument label. So we're saying, I have this variable here that I'm going to use. It's a data type of a string. So when I call this function, I'm going to send it a string, and it's going to be in this variable. But when I call it, I'm going to use this argument label. And so we'll see that happening in just a minute. Now, we are going to create an if let index equal available. And we can talk about the if let another time. Supplies, yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for me, but let me just go ahead and talk about it. Available supplies, the first index of, oh, there's a perfect example of a argument label, supply. So basically, it's just going to find that supply. Whatever supply is sent to it, it's going to find that first index of it and let that be an index. And so within that if statement, okay, we're just going to do another let one item equal available supplies. So we're going to remove that. So let me back up again. Okay, we're going to take in one supply. Okay, could be scissors. So we're going to find the first index of that, and it's going to return it and put it into here, okay, into this index. So then we know where in the available supplies we can remove it. We're going to remove the first item. So if it was the scissors that we chose, it's going to then say, okay, that's 0. So index will be a 0. So remove at 0. And then we have this last part here that we're going to add supplies in backpack, and we're going to add that to the end of our supplies in our backpack. Okay, so we're going to end up calling this function. We'll do that shortly. Okay, so if let index, so we're going to find that first index if we're able to. So it's in an if let. We can talk more about if lets another time. So if we're able to do this, then we're going to let the index do that. Then we're going to let this one item be that one that we're removing, and we're going to add it to our other array. Okay, so now we've created this function. Okay, now we need to call it. So we're going to come back up here, right? And so we have our on tap gesture. So right now, this is where we're doing this part, supplies and backpack. Remember, we're taking the supply and we're adding it to this. Did you notice that we're doing that same thing in this function? We just called it one item instead. Okay, so we come back to our on tap gesture, right? This is in the else statement. And instead of this line, we're going to call our move to backpack this supply. So you'll notice that we used our argument label and it reads nicely, move to backpack this supply, right? That's the whole point of argument labels, if you have them. Okay, so now we have the on tap gesture. We have our function. Let's see if we can start seeing some of this stuff happen. Do you see how these are kind of happening? And yay, all the supplies are packed because it was empty. Remember we did this with the is empty. Now, empty the backpack doesn't get rid of this part here. So we have to modify the empty backpack button. So if we go over to our empty backpack button, and we still remove all, I still like that, but now we want to take our available supplies and make them be our all supplies. Remember how we kind of saved them? We did that up here in the let. I'm just going to jump up here real quick. So see how we saved them here. And so now let me jump back down to where we just put that code in the button. There we go. So empty backpack, we're going to remove them all. We're then going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to say empty backpack. So when we start adding things to our backpack, right, yay, let's empty it. And notice it goes back over to here. So now it feels complete. We can pack items until there's nothing left to pack. We can see, hey, yay, I got everything packed. We can reset it or empty the backpack. So hopefully this was helpful. And now the next videos we'll talk more, we'll go in more depth, we'll do some examples of just the ForEaches so that you can see the different ways of doing ForEach.